Hello, witches, and welcome back to Mystic Motivation in my new series, Moon Magic, a guide to January 2026, where we'll be covering all of the magic, myths, rituals for this season. In this series, I want to talk about the Sabbats, the Esbats, and everything you need to know to amplify your practice. So take what resonates, leave the rest, but let's dive into some rituals, myths, history about this January 2026 time and how you can use it to your advantage as a witch. Throughout the series, you'll see me referring to my notes that I took on this month and also two books that I want to recommend if you end up wanting to follow along with me. I have the Moon Magic book by DJ Conway and The Witches, Sabbats, and Esbats by Sandra Kynes. So if you want to grab these books as well, it'll help you in really honing in these rituals and myths that we'll be covering, the moon cycles we'll be covering for each month. Important to note, though, that both of these books, when it comes to the Esbats, they only cover the full moon, which I find really interesting. In this series, I will be covering the full moon, new moon, last quarter, and first quarter. So we'll be covering everything that you want to connect with. But whatever works for your practice, work with the moon, how it works for you, work with these rituals, how it works for you. But let's go ahead and dive right in and talk about the moon cycles for the month. So I'm getting this new series for the year started a little bit late. So we just passed the full moon, which was a wolf moon on January 3rd. So this full moon on January 3rd was called the wolf moon because of the wolves that would howl during this time because of their hunger in midwinter. A witch's note here, full moons are high power energy, excellent for releasing what's ready to go, harvesting spiritual insight, and moon baths. So cleansing rituals could be relevant, and shadow illumination, doing your shadow work. With that in mind, some rituals that could be beneficial during the full moon, which obviously pass, but you can still connect with if it resonates with you, is candle release and journal shadow work under the moonlight. So really, you can work with this energy, of course, during the full moon, but also the in-between times between the full moon and then the last quarter moon. The last quarter moon is on January 10th, but it has a similar energy to the full moon because we're still in this energy of illumination that is slowly transitioning into the new moon where it goes dark. So it's half lit and it's waning towards darkness. So the witch's note here would be that this is a time to release, reflect. It's a time to break old patterns, let go of clutter, perfect for shadow work and undoing spells. So if you need to reverse a spell or you're ready to undo a spell and kind of bring those pieces you use, the crystals you use back and be resourceful, this is a good time to do so. It's a good time to clear away anything that's no longer serving you. So during a last quarter moon, some rituals that can be helpful is any sort of herb smudging or doing gratitude around letting go. So shadow work that we do during a full moon, which can be a little more intense, when we're in the last quarter moon, we can be a little more grateful and approach it with that energy of I'm ready to release these things. It actually feels good to release these things. So seeing gratitude for the clean slate that is about to present itself to you. We then move into the new snow moon on January 18th. Side note, January 18th is the next online coven, so we'll be tapping into this energy. But it was called the snow moon because the moon lands midwinter here, symbolic of fresh seeds beneath snow and a cosmic reset point. So witch's note here, new moons are blank slate energy. You can set intentions here. You could even do seed rituals to really connect with the meaning of this moon. And this is a time to begin anew, that clean slate we were talking about. So a ritual that can go along with this new moon energy is setting intentions under the new moon in silence. You can also infuse this with water, or if you are in a more wintry place, a place that gets snow, snow would be a perfect thing to include in any ritual or spell working that you're doing. Finally, we have the first quarter moon, which is on January 25th. This half moon represents the building of momentum to the next full moon cycle. So witch's note here, first quarter is action oriented. So push forward on intentions, conquer resistances, and activate spells with confidence. So this would be a good time to redo or revamp the spells that we may have dismantled in the last quarter earlier in the month, or just to set new spells. Some rituals you could do during the first quarter moon is movement, such as dance or breath work, any way that you can move your body and get yourself into some sort of state of action. So now that you've got the dates written down for the Esbats, the moon cycles of January, let's talk a little bit about the myth and history of this season. Pulling from the Moon Magic book, the word January comes from the Roman name for this month. It was named after the god Janus, who had two faces. This deity ruled over beginnings and endings, the past and the future. Since January is reckoned as the first month of a new year, this connection with the god Janus is appropriate. It is an excellent time to work on putting aside the old and outdated in one's personal life and making plans for a new and better condition. Most cultures had some ceremony for ending an old cycle of the calendar and celebrating the beginning of a new cycle. Physical activity acknowledging the end and the beginning of cycles set off similar changes in the subconscious mind. This change in the subconscious is necessary in order for actual physical changes to come about. Such rituals are helpful when one faces the end of a cycle in relationships, career, residence, or other life situations. So I like that it talks about how it's more of a time to think about subconscious changes and then the actions that will soon follow, because the true new year will be in spring. So when we have a collective new year in the middle of winter, it's more of a time to reflect on the changes that we desire, to create a clean slate within ourselves so that when the timing is right, we can take action to create a new foundation. January is very much about setting intentions after releasing the old, but it's not quite yet a time to take action. Not fully, at least. Now, referring to some myths can be helpful in seeing what type of energy to embody or archetypes to work with during this season. So, I'm going to do my best to pronounce these names correctly, but I am sure I may butcher some. So, I'm going to talk about the Blodeuwedd of Wales. This is a myth of the Welsh goddess. Her name was Blodeuwedd, and she was known as the ninefold goddess of the Western Isles of Paradise. A connection with both the moon, 9 is a moon number, and death and reincarnation, which is aspects of the dark moon. Robert Graves writes that Blodeuwedd had 9 powers. 9 is also a multiple of 3, a goddess in the moon number. Owls were sacred to Blodeuwedd. She dealt with lunar mysteries and mysterious initiations. Welsh myth says that Blodeuwedd was created from blossoms of the oath, the broom in the meadow sweet, by Gwydion in math, as a wife for their nephew, the young god Clay. Her name actually means flower face. However, after a time, Blodeuwedd lost interest in Clay and fell in love with the dark hunting god of the forest. When she asked Clay how he could be killed, he told her. She told her lover, the hunting god, who killed him. However, Clay's uncle resurrected him. Clay, in turn, killed his rival. Gwydion changed Blodeuwedd into an owl, a bird that prefers the night and hunts by the light of the moon. The owl, also a creature of Athene and other moon goddesses, is a symbol for wisdom and lunar mysteries. To fly at night is to understand and use the powers of the moon. So, what's interesting about myths like that is it gives us some perspective on some archetypes, symbols, and correspondences that we can work with for the season. It could also represent lessons that we can integrate from stories to have a better understanding of the own lessons we're experiencing in our lives. So, some themes of this season are accepting the fierce side of winter and connecting with the sky energy, and to take time to access your path with an inward journey. Some crystals you can work with in January include moonstone, which I am wearing here, rhodolite garnet, rose quartz, ruby, as well as red tourmaline. Now let's talk about some correspondences for January, starting with nature spirits, which includes gnomes and brownies. Herbs include holy thistle, nuts, and cones. Color includes brilliant white, blue, violet, and black. Flowers include snowdrop and crocus. Scents include musk and mimosa. Trees we can work with is the birch tree. Animals include fox, coyote, wolves. Birds, we can work with pheasants and blue jays. Deities include, and I'll try to pronounce these correctly, Freya, Inanna, Sarasvati, Hera, Chang-O, and Sin. Now, there are some fun old sayings and lore that come about in the season of January. So, I wanted to share 3 things that I thought were interesting. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. They're just fun to ponder. And if you're super curious, you can even try them. So, there's one to wish on the moon in order to see a specific person soon. So, while looking at the moon, you say, I see the moon sees me. The moon sees, name of person, who I want to see. To get rid of warts, you can take a slice of apple while looking at the new moon. So you still have an opportunity here, and you can rub the fresh side of the apple against a wart and say, what I see is growing, what I rub is going. Bury the piece of apple or throw it away. As it rots, the wart will disappear. So if you have a wart and you've got some free time during the new moon, give that a go and let me know what happens. And last but not least, if a new moon falls on a Saturday, it was said there will be 20 days of wind and rain. I was curious about this and I looked, and unfortunately, the new moon will be on a Sunday, so it looks like we won't know if that's true this year. The month of January sits in between Yule and Imbolc, so this is just midwinter, a time of deep reflection, releasing what no longer serves us, and thinking about what we want to come, setting new intentions. It's not quite a time to take action, but through these myths, through the history, through the symbolism, the correspondences, through the rituals and sacred practices that we can align with the Esbats, we can really prepare ourselves as we do move into spring coming up soon ahead. Time flies quickly, and before we know it, the seeds that we've planted in the new moon snow will soon come to fruition. When we align ourselves with the season, we're more in tune with our inner world, our intuition, and what we as animals crave, which is a connection to nature. I hope you enjoyed this moon magic for the month of January 2026, and be sure to subscribe so that you can catch the full rundown for February 2026. We'll be talking about the next Sabbat in bulk and how you can connect with the Esbats of the month. If you want to dive in deep with me, you can grab the books Witches, Sabbats, and Esbats by Sandra Kynes and Moon Magic by DJ Conway. If not, don't worry, I've got you covered. If you'd like to work with me more closely, you can go to the link in bio to see everything I offer there. I do have an online coven where our next gathering will be on the new snow moon on January 18th. We'll be working with the snow moon as well as doing a full night of glamour magic to tap into our power. I'd love to see you there. Thank you for being here, witches, and I'll see you soon. Much love.